Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to talk about Tiamat, the latest DPS carry to drop in Lost Sword. We'll go over how to build her, her strength, and whether she's worth your summons or not, plus a few extra tips along the way. So without further ado, let's get started. Tiamat is a holy element wizard and a powerful backline damage dealer. Right now she's one of the strongest single target carries in the game, but don't let that fool you, she also holds her own in AoE situations, thanks to her spam heavy skill cycle and self buffing mechanics. Her ultimate is where things get serious. At level 3, it deals damage equal to 952% of her own attack, and activating it resets the cooldown of all her active skills to 0 for 12 seconds, letting her unload a flurry of attacks instantly. On top of that, she gains a buff that increases the final damage of all her active skills by 20%. And there's more, her main skill deals damage equal to 500% of her own attack, and if there's 3 or more enemies, she deals an extra 6% bonus damage per target. This makes her surprisingly effective in multi-wave stages or group fights, not just bosses. Her passive abilities further boost her damage and make her much easier to build compared to other high tier carries. You don't need perfect gear to make her shine, and she scales well with basic investments. Her first passive gives her a 12% critical hit chance and a whopping 56% critical damage. And if you're thinking that's insane, wait till you hear her second passive. It boosts her attack by 56% and gives her a 9% ignore damage reduction, making her even more busted, especially against tankier enemies. As I mentioned in my previous gear guide, crit rate is one of the hardest stats to get constantly in this game. But as you see, even with my trash build, Tiamat easily hits 30% crit rate before factoring any cards, buffs, or supports. In an actual fight, she can comfortably hit 70% crit or more with the right setup. It's really wild. Now let's talk about her signature card, because it's insanely good for Tiamat. It increases her magic attack by 60% and magic crit chance by a 10%, with a 50% final skill damage increase. Yes, you heard it right, the final damage of all her active skills will be increased by 50%. This card is basically a better version of Lua's card, and if you're serious about using Tiamat as your main DPS, you absolutely need to get this card. It takes her damage to another level. Her pet is solid, not a game breaking, but it gets the job done. It provides a 36% attack increase with a 6% additional damage and deal damage equal to 244% of attack, and applies a defense reduction debuff of 10%. The defense rate helps her and your whole team hit harder. And finally, here are her best gifts to boost her favorability and unlock more stats. Now let's go over how to build Tiamat properly. Since she's not a basic attack spammer, you'll want to equip her with the Abyss Staff. It synergizes perfectly with her active skill spam playstyle and gives her a nice magic and crit damage boost. Or you can use the Infinity Staff from the tower for that 10% crit rate with a 30% crit damage with additional buffs. Same for the armor, give her the Abyss one for the magic damage boost or the other black one. For the treasure, I recommend using the crown for that sweet 10% crit rate, or you can use the transformation scroll on her as well. And finally, use the red rune. When it comes to substats, your top priority is crit damage and attack percentage. Remember, she already gets a lot of crit rate from her passives and cards and other external sources, so she'll be sitting on 70% crit rate most of the time without counting the stages buffs. Same logic applies to traits. You can go with attack percentage, crit damage and crit damage, or even triple crit damage, or a double attack percentage plus a crit damage roll. Alright, let's talk team comps. As your main DPS, Tiamat works best when surrounded by strong supports that can boost her damage and keep her alive. But if you're feeling creative, you can also run her alongside another carry for some fun team variations for extra 5 power. Since she's a wizard, her best support option, no surprise here, is Galahad. She's still the go-to tank and buffer, providing tons of value with her defense and utility. Rhea is another great pick, giving your whole team a big attack percentage boost along with healing support. If you want more offensive buffs, Merlin is a fantastic choice too. She boosts attack and magic attack with crit rate as well, plus she brings consistent freeze with extra AoE damage to the table. For your final slot, it really depends on the stage you're running and how the content. For example, you can run another tank like Eren or Kay, or add a secondary healer like Isolde or Gwen to keep your team stable. If you're confident in your survivability and you want to go full offense, try picking another DPS like Lisa, Lua, Anessa, or even Christina or Catherine. It all comes down to the enemy type and what your team needs the most. Flex that last spot based on the situation. So, should you summon Tiamat? The answer is yes, absolutely. She's a really strong DPS carry, easily on Lisa's tier level. In fact, thanks to her easy crit rate access and skill spam potential, she even has a slight edge over Lisa in some scenarios. That said, Lisa still dominates in multi-wave AoE situations, especially in story mode, which makes up like 90% of the game content right now. On the other hand, Tiamat shines in the boss fights and the single target content, where Lisa struggles a bit. And because she's a holy element, she doesn't suffer from the elemental disadvantage, meaning she won't take extra damage, but she also doesn't have advantage either, which might affect her overall average DPS in some stages. Bottom line, both Lisa and Tiamat are top tier carries, and if you need a new DPS, you should definitely get Tiamat, especially for the new game modes and the tower content. If you're planning to invest in her, here's what I recommend. Go for her card first, it gives her a massive damage boost, then get her to T5 or awakening her depending on your resources. T3 is a solid stopping point as well. And then lastly, grab her pet if you need it. Now, since we also have Galahad on the radar banner with her, some of you might be wondering who to go for. If you're lacking a DPS and you don't own Lisa, you absolutely need at least one copy of Tiamat. She'll really carry you through a lot of content and make your progression much easier. But if you only can afford one SSR dispatch, I'd say Galahad is the must pull. She's irreplaceable and no other unit in the game right now can do what she does. So if you're a new or a long-term player and you don't have her maxed yet, Galahad is the smarter investment. Me personally, I've been slacking on story mode too, so I'll be grinding hard to max her up. I got safely on Tiamat banner after spending all my resources on her, so she'll be stuck at T2 for now. But I'll grab her with the guarantee tickets later on. And if you're a new player, this is one of the best banners to start with, so definitely consider rerolling to get as many copies of both Galahad and Tiamat as possible. I hope this video helped you. If you got any questions or you want to share your polls, feel free to drop a comment below. I'll do my best to reply to everyone. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please leave a like and a subscribe would mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.